Hello and welcome to our New Mexico history class. My name is Brandon Morgan and I am the instructor for our class this summer. Over the next 8 weeks, we will study New Mexico's past through a variety of different activities and assignments. We'll have a couple of options for the final project. All of that will be explained through the syllabus and the learning modules, so the course content over here in our Blackboard course. I'm making this same course tour video for both of the sections of New Mexico history that I'm teaching this summer. So if you're in section D03, the color of the background of your course will be different than this one, but everything will work the same inside of it. So just wanted to point that out. Also, right off the bat here, I wanted to mention, really emphasize that I understand that many of us are not familiar with using digital platforms like Twitter or TikTok. They're great for this class. They provide great ways for discussing the historical events and interpretations that we'll be studying. TikTok is great for building timelines, but I know that getting started with them can sometimes be daunting. Please reach out to me if you have questions, if you need help, if you're not sure what to do. I'm here to help. You can get me via email, via text message. The number is in the syllabus, as well as in the instructor information tab there. So please take advantage of all of those ways of contacting me and ask for help whenever you need it. I'm here to help. And I'm really excited to learn from your perspectives and your ideas about New Mexico history this semester. So for this course tour, I wanted to show you some of the key things about our course in terms of navigating. Hopefully this will look somewhat familiar. This is the landing page of our New Mexico history course. As you scroll down, you'll find a link to the course hashtag that we're using in Twitter. This will take you to our digital textbook. Remember that you don't need to purchase it, but click this link here. This is in this document, and that will give you the instructions that you need to access that textbook. It's all digital, it's all online. You can access it via browser, but you do not have to pay for it. You already paid for it with your course fees. So make sure that you don't purchase that. Here you can check announcements and grades as well on the landing page. First time around, you're going to click Start Here. You won't need to use this tab much beyond the first week or two of class. If you're watching this video, you've already found this tab. But I did want to point out you should click on the Start Here module as well. There is information here that will help you get acclimated to the course. There are links to the syllabus, as you can see here. There's also a lot of kind of reference information about academic integrity at CNM, about software requirements for using Blackboard or CNM Learn, the distance learning jumpstart course. If you're not really familiar with online classes, that's a great kind of self-paced introduction to using CNM Learn, and so on. So all of those things are resources and help for you as you get started with online learning. A few of those are specific to our course. For our course, you're going to have to make sure that you have read the syllabus and understood the syllabus. There's a link to that here, so that you know exactly what the course schedule is, what kinds of assignments we'll be doing, and so on. I have links to some of those assignments here as well. For example, there's not really a spot on the discussion board to add the detailed instructions for it, so I put those here. Same thing with journal entries. I added the course schedule at the bottom of the syllabus section. It is in the syllabus itself, but you can quickly reference it here if you're already in Learn and you don't want to have to open the syllabus. Along with the syllabus, the learning modules are the most important thing that you'll need for understanding what's due, what you need to do this week, and how to succeed in the course. So I have all of the activities and everything just laid out in each of the learning modules for our class. I realized I skipped over instructor information. I'm not going to click on it, but please go in there along with my contact info. There is the policy for late work. I do accept late work. and a lot of other expectations there. So please read through the information that is there. Beyond the learning modules listed here below are the various assignment types that we have. So we'll be doing a few discussions, especially in Unit 1. We'll be doing reading tweets, timelines, journals. In every unit, you'll have the option to either complete a journal or a discussion, so you won't have to do both. You'll choose one or the other. But again, if you're working on reading and you have closed CNM Learn, you went away to do your reading, do something on Twitter, and you're coming back and you need to go straight to the discussion board, you can just click discussions to get there, or you can click timeline to get to the timeline submissions without having to go back through the learning module. So these are just there for you as we get going. Long story short, what I'm trying to say is there are multiple ways to do the same things in our course. So I just wanted to give you as much of that as possible so that you can interact with our class in the way that is easiest for you. But again, do use the learning modules to make sure that you're keeping up with all of the assignments that we have. Unit 1 is a little bit unique because it focuses on introductions to everyone else in the class, as well as a few activities and exercises that will get us to think about the field of history and how to study the past. Unit 2 it begins the pattern of assignments that will be the same through Unit 2 through 6. So the bulk of the class will follow the pattern that is shown in Unit 2. Between Units 2 and 3, you have a work week for the final project. That's where you'll decide which of the two options you want to do. There are instructions for that in the syllabus, inside of this learning module, and over here in the final project tab. So please look through all those things. Ask me questions whenever you have them if you're not quite sure which of the two options you want to do. Please note, we don't have quizzes and exams. We have assignments and activities and this final project that you'll complete in 3 steps over the semester. So that will be essentially our final for this class, but it's not an exam per se. I'm going to click into Unit 2 just to show you the general pattern of these learning modules so you'll know what to expect when you look here. So each of these modules has an intro and objective section. I've written a little bit about the topics that we'll be studying in that unit. And then I've listed here what you need to complete during that week to be successful in that unit. So for example, here by Thursday of this week for Unit 2, you need to complete the readings, view the film clips as you're able to, and post your reading tweets. So you post those directly to Twitter using the course hashtag. All of that is explained in the Reading Tweets tab, and there are video tutorials there, so please take advantage of them. You'll also submit the ID step of the timeline assignment. You'll have to submit that both in CNM Learn and on Tiki-Taki. And there are, again, video tutorials to show all of that and explain it. It's not as bad as you might think. So as I lay all of this out, please remember that I'm kind of explaining everything we're going to be doing over the course of the semester. You can take it one step at a time. And once you get the hang of using Tiki-Taki, we'll have an activity in Unit 1 to kind of get your feet wet. It's really not bad. So that stuff is due Thursday nights in Units 2 through 6. By Sunday, you need to post the connection step of the timeline assignment and your journal entry or discussion assignment. So remember, I mentioned you could choose one or the other. The objectives here are listed. So these are the main kind of content objectives, things we'll be studying this unit. I also made these videos to introduce the specific events and issues we'll be studying in each unit. You can tell I need to redo those. They're a bit old. So hopefully I'll get around to doing that sooner than later. Once you've read through the intro and objectives, you've seen where the checklist of assignments is, you can navigate to the next section, either by using this arrow or by using the table of contents. So I'm going to click the arrow here. This takes us to the list of readings for this unit. The chapters in Morgan, those are the digital text that you'll get through mytext.cnm. And then there are these other two resources on Chaco Canyon and a podcast episode on the controversy over Oñate's foot when a statue honoring him was put up in 1998. That statue is under fire, or I should say, center of controversy once again in our current moment. And so this unit will have some very interesting ways of thinking about the connections between past and present, especially when we're talking about a past as distant as that of Spanish colonial New Mexico. The questions that I include in each of the reading sections are not for an assignment. They're just there to help you think about things to look for as you read. They're optional readings as well. They're not required, but the readings here are. Please note that for college classes, college reading, you're not going to be able to read every single thing word for word. You do need to skim. You do need to kind of understand what the main topics and ideas are by using the headings and some of the vocabulary that's highlighted in the text. So by reading it that way, you can kind of skim through things that maybe don't catch your attention as much, as long as you can catch the bigger picture of what's going on. The next thing in each of these modules is the film clips. So as I've written here, I've listed more videos than you'll be able to watch reasonably. These are here as supplements to the reading, so if there's something you want to learn more about, something you don't really understand, these videos should help you with that. If you don't get around to watching them, though, that's okay. They're here to supplement the readings. Every now and then I'll have kind of an FYI section, something that it relates to what we're studying but isn't really part of any assigned activity. That's the Idle No More movement, so if you're interested, you can check that out and see what that is about. I put this reading tweet section in each module to remind you that you'll need to go to Twitter to complete your reading tweets. You can click here to see the instructions for that assignment, or over here in the reading tweets tab. Essentially you're taking notes on your reading on Twitter and sharing it with each other and talking to each other about it there. So that's what this is all about. The timeline submission area will look like this when you open it. There's a link to the instructions for the timeline assignment so that you can see exactly what you're doing there. When you click to launch, that will actually open a folder that is located in the timeline tab itself. And here for the ID step, you'll click this link to submit your work for the ID step. Remember that you'll submit it here and on Tiki-Taki. Those are due Thursdays. You'll do the same thing for the timeline connection step. So you can get to those through the learning module the way I just showed you. Or, as I kind of mentioned a few minutes ago, if you've gone away from the learning module, you're just getting back to Blackboard, and the thing I need to do now is submit my timeline, you can just click directly on timeline here under course content, and you'll see all of the resources for the timeline assignment. There's this tutorial that I mentioned. I have a couple of other tutorials about the content and what I mean when I'm asking you to talk about historical significance. Down here, you'll see the submission areas for each unit. So the Unit 2 section that we were just at via the learning module, if you click on that folder, you get to the same place. So again, just to show you, what I mean, how that works. I'm going back to the Unit 2 learning module just to finish showing you what is there. And again, if you leave and come back, you can just use the table of contents to jump directly to where you need to be. I'm going to go to the journal. You can choose to complete either a journal entry or a discussion assignment. Once you click to launch, that will open the journal section. And you can click here to see the instructions for the journal assignment, and you will submit your journal entry by clicking here, Create Journal Entry. I'm going to go back to the learning module. If you'd rather, though, you don't want to do the journal, you want to do the discussion, that's here. So this click to launch will take you to the discussion board. You can get there via discussions and course content. With these, once you click Create Thread, you'll see the instructions for this forum. You can also see the instructions if you just click discussions and scroll down to the assignment for Unit 2. But you can read through this and decide, okay, this is something I would like to write about. I want to write about an alternative to the Oñate statue to try to address the controversy surrounding it. So you'll write that entry, submit it here, and respond to a classmate. All right. The very last thing in each learning module, apparently I clicked, got that circle. Here we go. The very last thing in each learning module is this section called self-assessment and looking ahead. Essentially, this just gives you back the list of things that you needed to do during that unit. So the readings, the reading tweets, the timeline assignment, and either the journal or discussion. And then it tells you, what to look forward to coming up. The week after Unit 2, between Units 2 and 3, you'll have that whole week dedicated, at least in our class. I know you got a million things going on besides this. But that week in our class will be dedicated to deciding what you want to do for the final project and submitting your research question for that. You can do either the Fort Craig project or the digital annotated bibliography on Adobe Spark. As you'll read about if you click on the final project tab, and I'll actually just do that because you can see what this last section of each module is and does. When you click on final project, you have this explanation of the two options, just kind of in brief. There's something similar in the syllabus. So you can either choose to do the Fort Craig option, in which we will be creating some content for a virtual tour that they will use at the Fort Craig site. So that's what I mean when I say this one's an authentic public history project. We'll be creating things that they will be using. And I do recognize that you may not want to have your work out in the public in that way. That is okay. You can choose to do the other project, the digital annotated bibliography instead, and that's something that you'll be able to have and control how that's shared via Adobe Spark. Or if you're willing to and you find that idea of contributing to something that people will go and visit and read and use to learn more about this particular historic site in New Mexico, please do the Fort Craig project. So again, that's just a kind of very general introduction into how those two are different. You choose to do one or the other, you don't do both. You can click these folders to see the actual instructions for each one. So here are the instructions and guidelines, explain in a lot more detail what the project is, how the steps work. Each of these are completed in 3 steps. Each of them end up being 200 points overall in our class. There's also this story map that has information about the Fort Craig site so that you can, again, make a better informed decision, and also it'll help you to formulate your research question. There are similar resources in the folder for the annotated digital bibliography or digital annotated bibliography. And please, again, as with everything, ask questions early and often. Looking over here on the left-hand side at our course menu, there are a couple of extra credit options. You can look at that on your own and complete those as you need to or want to. Do check your announcements regularly. I use that to communicate with the entire class on a quite frequent basis. Online office hours, you'll click here to join our room in Collaborate, Blackboard Collaborate, and that's a kind of a video conferencing platform that we can use. This gets you to see in an email, as it says, and then you can check your grades here. These help resources are great for research if you're thinking about the final project, C&M libraries. These others are good resources if you need help technically for Blackboard, or if you need anything else in terms of student support and resources from C&M. So please do take advantage of those, see what's there for you. That's our course in a nutshell. Remember, I showed you everything that we're doing over the next 8 weeks. So don't be scared by all of that. You don't have to do all of this right away. You'll have some time to work through this, and please use me as a resource. Your classmates as well are usually very willing and able to be a support and help as we work together to learn more about New Mexico's past.